a quick overview, who we are and what we do. We, as Larsen & Toubro Group, we are the India's largest engineering, procurement, construction, and manufacturing company with around $31 billion of revenue. We, as L&T Technology Services, is the global engineering and technology services arm of the group. We are around 6 billion in terms of market cap and around 25,000 engineers across the globe. Being a technology services company, we are investing heavily in the latest technologies, and that's what you can also see in terms of the AI patents, which we have filed so far. More than 206 patents we have filed so far. In terms of what we do in the energy sector, quickly, we, as engineers at heart, we are building plants for the companies across the globe. So one of the largest vegetable oil plant near to Amsterdam, around 600 million capex, that's being designed, built by us. We are also partner to multiple energy chemical companies for their on their assets to help them on their portfolio projects, on their MOC projects, and all. So that's our projects portfolio. We are a strategic partner with the energy companies from decades in the area of integrated asset management, where we are doing two things: projects and asset information management, and supporting them in their asset management initiatives like maintenance excellence programs, materials management programs, and integrity programs. With our domain knowledge of project, IM, and digital, and asset management, we were very well placed in order to support the industry with very targeted digital programs. And that's where our journey of digitalization and AI started. Quickly, what we have seen, and before LTTS, from last few years, I was also part of the advisory in Europe, and being part of many of the research being done by ISG, being done by with McKinsey's and others. And in the digital transformation programs, what we have seen last few years, we have seen multiple challenges. And if I take top 3 of those, we talked since morning also about the cultural change, about the organization resistance to change. We have seen one of the biggest challenge in the last few years. But next 2 are related to poor data quality and tech depth and the legacy equipment and legacy asset which we are carrying along. And that's the challenge which we tried to solve for our customers and the programs where we are associated with the energy and the chemical companies. And because of the challenges, we all know that oil and gas is still the least in terms of the success rate in the transformation. Other industries are leading, but still, I would say the success ratio has been quite low across sectors. How we get there now? So in terms of the digital programs where we have been associated, how we have been delivering a trusted, reliable data towards our customer. We has taken a hybrid approach. So if you see, 15 years ago, when we were doing actually data preparations for the programs like S/4HANA migrations, or in terms of EDW deployments, EDMS deployments, the approach was very much manual, and then we were augmenting that with image processing, with OCRs. So that's the max which we were doing. However, if I just give the data which is scanned from OCR in a particular template towards our digital program, it's not trusted data. So what we did, from our experience, domain experience, and the industry experience, we always had in our approach the experts in the loop. Maybe at the beginning of this technology evaluation, the human factor was 20% automation, 80% human. Now, the way we are also incorporating machine learning models, AI algorithms, now the human factor is 20% and the automation 80%. But the approach which had worked successfully and to making the end program successful was the hybrid approach. Some of the critical programs which I mentioned, be it the operational readiness, be it the EDW deployments, or nowadays, even the digital, the engineering and operational digital twin deployments. That's where we are preparing the data quite efficiently using this hybrid model. While doing this, what we also done quite nicely, we integrated the workflows. That what we need to do to really get a trusted data in a structured manner. So we had developed the tools like, solutions like, with these inbuilt workflows, Aphonics, which is even extracting the information quite, I would say, reliably from the engineering drawings, PNIDs, we all know that, PNIDs, PFDs, termination drawings, loop drawings, which includes those symbols and very tedious to extract the data. So we had developed those kind of tools, and that's one, Aphonics, and then further for project to asset handover, for maintenance data build, for materials management, we had those solutions specifically targeting to prepare the data which can be trusted in the target tools. How typically the architecture would look like? So if you see a typical asset digital twin architecture, we are talking about 3 main points where you need to be very careful in terms of data preparation. One, legacy data sources. So we are carrying a lot of legacy. Anders also mentioned in the morning, about 20% of the 3D models are as built as on date. So if you need to integrate that kind of information, we need to put a lot of data, a lot of efforts in terms of bringing that information to a state which can be consumed by the digital twin. And that's where you see point 1 and 2. And once we have this as-built information, we also need to keep it evergreen. And that's where also we need that domain and industry expertise. So that's on digitization, that how we can really get to a reliable and trusted data for our digital twin. But the next, because for a real digital twin, for asset digital twin, we need to consume the data from our operation systems, OSI Pi systems. We need to develop the right use case, which can create the value at a particular life cycle of the project or within the assets. So that comes the next perspective. I tried to really put from our perspective that we had developed multiple solutions which are being implemented at scale across the life cycle, and to how to really bring that into a kind of a diagram. And what I've able to achieve is, if you see the bottom layer, irrespective of the target platform or what you want to achieve in a CapEx project or in the asset, you need a trusted data layer. So you need to have your strategy right in terms of data preparation, whether to a digital twin or to a target platform, which could be any of our partners. And then we talk about IoT and edge infra and the AI agents, which we can use further to enhance our data from the IoT side. I will touch upon some of the use cases here in detail, but in a nutshell, what we are trying to do, in the project engineering phase, we are trying to help engineers to make use of AI simulators, to make use of generative designs, to make use of planning, AI in planning. When it comes to procurement, construction, commissioning, we are helping them with a help them in the supply chain for the right decision making, fastening the contracting process. During the construction phase, we know that we have a heavy equipment flow, we have a heavy material flow, we have a heavy personnel flow. How to really manage the site safely? That's another solution which we are able to deploy at large, and that we also did with our parent group, actually, where we have more than tens of thousands of equipments spread across India, and we are doing heavy manufacturing and a big construction sites, which you can see over there. And then when it comes to operations, typical solutions like predictive maintenance or inspections using drone and controlling the problems like corrosion components. Just a deep dive into a couple of solutions. Asset health framework. It's a typical framework where we are predicting the failure. So it is consuming the data from your OSI Pi solution, the live data. It is consuming the data from the ERP system. What we are able to achieve it, that a different data structure and data which we are getting from Aviva, from SAP, from your Pi system, how to contextualize that particular data. So we are focusing a lot on that. And then ultimately, we are able to deliver, without much noise and hallucination, the predictions of the failure. And this is not actually, this is sending the alerts to the SAP system, but it's not augmented yet by the agentic AI. So what we are doing is, we actually topped it up with an interface for the maintenance engineers using Gen AI, and they can interact with the system and ask all the fancy questions which they want to ask, that this is the notification I'm getting, and with this notification, what I need to do. And to get all the graphs from the machine learning models, to get also the domain knowledge and the knowledge bank which we had put into the system, to make use all of that, and then take the action. So action still lies with the maintenance engineers, but we are sending them the alerts. And we had implemented that at scale, so more than 34 facilities for one of the chemical major, we had done that. reducing, if you see before and after, the unplanned shutdown time has significantly reduced. Couple of other examples I want to give. One, this is one of the largest investments happening in the Middle East, more than $40 billion investments happening. We are designing the whole integrated operations center, where the whole building layout, the layout design which you see over here, that which digital team will sit where, how this data will come from different plants, around 40, 50 kilometers away from the plant locations, and the whole plant will be operated from this particular location. So right from the designing of this operation center to managing the digital program, implementing the digital program, and making this whole concept work, we are doing end-to-end. The last use case I would like to talk about is the digital twin implementation, the architecture which I had shown before in terms of data preparation and getting the data from different sources. We had also implemented that for more than 25 sites for a chemical major. These are the few case studies which I could touch in my time provided to me. But if you would like to know more, please get hold of me or my colleagues at our high table over there in the hallway. To end with, I would like to say that what I see in the industry is that there would be continuous shift in the terms of the portfolio, in terms of the way the industry is moving towards energy transition. Cybersecurity is a challenge which we need to really address using the responsible AI and other ways. And in terms of operation model design, this is another thing which we have seen is that companies has changed their way of approach by really rethinking about the strategy of insourcing and outsourcing. How can they optimally utilize their GCC and all of that? So I would say there's a lot of shift happening in terms of the companies were operating before and now in terms of becoming fit for anything. So there is a lot going on, and there's a shift which we'll see will continue in the coming period. With this, I would like to thank all of you for your patience after lunch for my talk. Thank you so much.